Hi friends, welcome to another collaboration between me and co-pilot, and Bentley of course. This is a sci-fi adventure, romance, whatever you want to call it. I hope you enjoy. Chapter 1. The wind pushed my suit as I crawled out of the wreck. The sky above me glowed red from the dwarf star, a dull light that barely touched the ice. My breath fogged inside the cracked visor. The temperature warning blinked yellow, then red. I slapped it with my glove, but it kept flashing. Enthen Trent to Zhenghua. Respond, please. Our shuttle encountered unusual atmospheric currents and has crashed. I am the only survivor. Can you hear me? The TDF Zhenghua was a company slow-speed explorer set to traverse the stars the hard way. Once we reached a star, we set up jump gates connecting to the bent Leithwaite arm, and the star and its planets were open for business. The Bent Leithwaite Corporation had 3 Explorer-class transit vessels capable of setting up jump gates. The Zhenghua was the oldest. My datapad lay in pieces. The control systems of the shuttle lay scattered across the frozen plain. Any semblance of the shuttle's artificial sentience had blinked out with the crash. Panels, wiring, a half-melted storage crate. No movement. No voices. Just the low groan of shifting ice under my boots. I tasted metal in my mouth from the smoke. My ribs hurt every time I inhaled. Our mission had been simple enough. While the long-distance explorer TDF Zhenghua set up the jump gate outside the TRAPPIST-1 system, 3 teams were to approach the inner system and quickly survey potentially habitable planets. The TRAPPIST-1 system had 7 planets, all roughly Earth-sized. The wind was cool on my face, which was impossible unless my visor had a crack. I checked my HUD. Suit integrity was low and showed minor damage to the helmet. Looks like I had accidentally proven this planet had a breathable atmosphere. Not ideal, but better than suffocating. I took a slow breath. Thin air. Cold. But breathable. The planet my team was assigned to was TRAPPIST-1E, a barren ice ball that was considered too cold for human habitability. The scientists had been wrong about the temperature. It wasn't cold. It was murderously cold. And it had storms. With the datapad gone and the shuttle systems destroyed, I had no chance at long-range communication, except with my wristcom. Distance on that was limited to spitwad range. I stood there shaking, trying to steady myself. 32 years old, trained for emergencies, and I still felt like a kid who lost his parents in a grocery store. Static. I checked the locator. Dead. I checked the emergency rations. 1 packet of nutrient gel, half crushed. I squeezed a bit onto my tongue. It tasted like warm chalk. The wind picked up, sliding across the ice with a sound like sandpaper. I pulled my jacket tighter. The fabric was torn along the left sleeve, and the cold bit through the gap. My fingers tingled. My legs felt heavy. I kept moving anyway. Survey Group Epsilon, this is Enthen Trent, I said into the con. If anyone hears this, I'm alive. I'm on the surface. I need... Static swallowed the rest. I lowered my arm and looked out across the plain. The ice stretched in every direction, broken only by distant steam vents rising like thin columns. The air smelled sharp. I lowered my arm and looked out across the plain. The ice stretched in every direction, broken only by distant steam vents rising like thin columns. The air smelled sharp, almost clean, except for the burnt plastic clinging to my suit. I tried to laugh. It came out thin. Great job, Trent. You survived the crash. Now you get to freeze. My boots slipped on a patch of smooth ice, and I caught myself on one knee. The cold shot through the fabric. I pushed up slowly, breathing hard. My visor fogged again. I wiped it with my glove. The horizon shimmered with heat rising from a fissure far ahead. Warmth, shelter, maybe a chance. I took one step, then another. My legs shook, my vision blurred at the edges. The wind pressed harder, pushing me sideways. I kept walking, because stopping meant dying. And I wasn't ready for that. Not yet, not here, not alone. Chapter 2. The light shifted as the dwarf star climbed a little higher. It didn't warm anything, but it changed the color of the ice from blue to a dull red. My visor read -43 Celsius. The wind scraped across the plain, steady and sharp. My boots crunched with every step. I kept moving toward the nearest steam vent. The air smelled like frozen metal and burnt wiring. My fingers throbbed inside my gloves. I squeezed the last of the nutrient gel onto my tongue. It tasted like cold paste. I walked out. I talked out loud to keep myself awake. "Trent, you're doing great. You're freezing, starving, and lost. Perfect start to the day." My voice sounded small in the open air. I stopped to catch my breath. The ice under me groaned again, a long, low sound that vibrated through my boots. I looked back at the crash site. Smoke still rose from the wreckage. No movement, no rescue, no team. Just me. The wind pushed against my shoulder, and I steadied myself. My ribs hurt, my legs shook. I kept walking anyway. Somewhere between steps, the truth hit me. Not hard, just steady. "I don't want to die alone," I said quietly. The words surprised me. I hadn't said them before, not during training, not during the mission, not during the mission briefings, not even when the shuttle tore apart around me. I said them now because the ice didn't care, the wind didn't care, the sky didn't care, and I didn't want to disappear on a world that would never remember my name. I reached the edge of the fissure. The warm air rose from below, carrying the smell of wet stone and something earthy. My visor fogged again. I wiped it with my glove. The heat felt good on my faceplate. I leaned closer, letting it wash over me. My body relaxed for the first time since the crash. "Someone has to be out here," I said. "Someone has to hear me." The wind didn't answer. But the warmth rising from the fissure felt like a promise. I held on to that, even if it was small, even if it was stupid. I wasn't ready to give up. Not yet. Not alone. Chapter 3. The heat rising from the fissure kept my hands from going numb. I crouched beside the opening, letting the warm air hit my faceplate. My visor cleared for the first time since the crash. The ice around the vent glistened with thin crystals that snapped under my gloves when I touched them. I checked my suit again. The left sleeve was torn, the chest plate was dented, my oxygen readout blinked at half capacity. I pressed the reset button. It blinked again. No change. "Perfect," I said. "Just what I needed." The wind had eased a little. The air still felt sharp, but the constant scraping sound had softened. I could hear the faint hiss of steam rising from below. It smelled like wet stone and something earthy, almost like soil after rain. I sat down on the ice and pulled my knees up. My ribs protested. I breathed slowly until the pain settled. I reached into my pocket and found a crushed ration bar. The wrapper was torn, but the bar was intact. I broke off a piece. It tasted dry and sweet, like compressed fruit. I ate it slowly. I needed the calories. I looked out across the plain. The crash site was a dark smear in the distance. Smoke still drifted upward. No movement. No rescue team. No signal. I rubbed my hands together, letting the heat from the vent warm the gloves. My fingers tingled as the feeling returned. Something shifted behind me. A soft crunch on the ice. I turned quickly, heart pounding. Nothing. just the wind brushing the surface. I scanned the horizon again. Empty. "Get it together, Trent," I muttered. "You're jumpy because you're freezing." I stood and checked the fissure. The opening was narrow but climbable. Warm air rose steadily. If I stayed on the surface, I'd die. If I went down, I might live long enough to regret it. But at least I'd be alive. Another sound behind me, a faint scrape, not wind, not ice shifting, something else. I turned again, still nothing. But the hair on the back of my neck lifted. I wasn't alone out here. I didn't know if that was good or bad. I only knew I needed to move. I tightened my gloves, took a breath, and stepped toward the fissure. The heat rising from the fissure hit my faceplate in steady waves. My visor cleared again, and the warmth felt almost human. I crouched at the edge, testing the rock with my glove. It was damp and rough, nothing like the smooth ice above. Steam drifted upward, carrying the smell of wet stone and something green. I swung one leg over the edge and lowered myself slowly. My boots found a narrow ledge. The heat soaked through the soles. My fingers tingled as the blood returned. I took another step down. A sound echoed from below, not steam, not shifting rock, something softer. A breath, maybe? I froze. "Hello?" My voice bounced off the walls. "If someone's down there, I'm not a threat. I'm just trying to stay alive." Silence. I kept descending. The light dimmed as the red sky disappeared above me. The walls glowed faintly from the heat. Drops of heat slid down the stone and hit my gloves. They felt warm, almost pleasant. Another sound, closer this time, a scrape against rock, a shift of weight. I swallowed hard. "Okay, Trent, if it eats you, at least you won't freeze." My boot slipped on a wet patch. I grabbed the wall, ribs screaming. I steadied myself and breathed through the pain. The warmth helped. My visor fogged again. I wiped it with my sleeve. Then I saw it. A shape moved in the shadows below, tall, long-limbed, balanced on a narrow ledge like it weighed nothing. Its eyes reflected the faint glow from the rock, bright and steady. I froze. It didn't move. The air between us felt tight, like the moment before a question. I lifted my hand slowly. "I'm Enthen Trent, human, survey team. I crashed on the surface. I'm not here to hurt you." The figure tilted its head. The motion was smooth, almost careful. It stepped forward into the rising steam. I saw the outline of its frame, long bones, light build, a body shaped for movement I couldn't match. It spoke. The voice was low, steady, and unfamiliar. The words didn't translate, but the tone wasn't hostile. I exhaled shakily. "I don't understand you, but I'm glad you're here." The figure stepped closer, and for the first time since the crash, I didn't feel alone. Chapter 5. The figure didn't move at first. It just watched me from the steam, tall and balanced like the ledge was built for it. My visor picked up faint heat signatures along its limbs. The air between us felt warm and close, a sharp contrast to the cold above. I tightened my grip on the rock. My ribs ached. My legs shook from the climb. "I'm not here to fight," I said. "I'm just trying to stay alive." The figure stepped closer. The steam parted around it. I saw long arms, narrow shoulders, and a frame that looked light enough to leap straight up the shaft. Its eyes reflected the glow from the stone, bright and steady. It spoke again. The words were soft, almost careful. I didn't understand a single one. "Great," I muttered. lost on an alien world, and I can't even ask for directions. The figure tilted its head. I couldn't tell if it understood me or just recognized the tone. My stomach growled loudly. The sound echoed off the walls. I winced. Yeah, that's me. Hungry, freezing, and talking to strangers in holes. The figure made a short sound. Not a laugh, but close. It stepped forward and held out a hand. Long fingers, light bones, steady posture. I stared at it. You want me to what? Trust you? It didn't pull the hand back. The heat rising from below brushed against my faceplate. My visor fogged again. I wiped it with my sleeve and looked at the hand one more time. I thought about the surface, the wreck, the cold, the silence, the fact that no one was coming. Then I looked at the figure in front of me, the only living thing I'd seen since the crash. I don't know who you are, I said quietly, but I don't want to die up there. I reached out slowly, my glove touching its hand. The skin felt warm through the fabric. The figure closed its fingers around mine with a gentle, steady grip. For the first time since the crash, I felt something close to relief. Not safety, not yet, but possibility. Chapter 6. The stranger's hand stayed warm around mine. The grip was steady, not forceful. I felt the heat through my glove, a slow pulse that eased the ache in my fingers. The steam rose around us in thin waves. My visor fogged again. I wiped it with my sleeve. The figure spoke softly, a string of sounds I didn't understand. The tone felt calm, patient. It tugged my hand gently, guiding me down the next ledge. I followed because the alternative was freezing on the surface. The air grew warmer with every step. The stone walls glistened with moisture. Droplets slid down and hit my gloves. They felt warm, almost pleasant. The smell changed too, less like wet rock, more like soil and something green. My ribs throbbed with each movement. I tried not to show it. The stranger glanced back anyway, eyes bright in the dim light. It made a short sound, almost like concern. I straightened up. I'm fine, I said, just bruised. It didn't understand my words, but it understood the tone. It slowed its pace. We reached a wider ledge. Steam drifted upward in steady bursts. The heat wrapped around my suit, easing the cold that had settled into my bones. I took a slow breath. My visor cleared completely for the first time since the crash. The stranger stepped in front of me and pointed downward. I leaned over the edge. Below us, the cavern opened into a wide chamber filled with growing plants. Tall stalks pulsed with soft blue light. Vines hung from the ceiling, dripping warm water. The air shimmered with heat rising from hidden vents. It looked alive in a way the surface never could. I swallowed hard. Okay, that's unexpected. The stranger made another soft sound and gestured for me to follow. It moved with ease, hopping down to the next ledge like gravity barely mattered. I climbed after it, slower and clumsier, ribs protesting with each shift. My boots hit the warm stone floor of the cavern. The heat soaked through instantly. My body relaxed without permission. The stranger turned to face me fully for the first time. Long-boned, light, eyes bright and steady. It touched its chest lightly. Zrill, it said. I blinked. Enthen. Zrill repeated my name, careful and precise. And just like that, I wasn't alone anymore. Chapter 7. The heat in the cavern wrapped around me the moment we stepped inside. My suit sensors stopped screaming. My visor cleared completely. The air smelled like warm soil, wet stone, and something sweet drifting from the growing plants. My body relaxed without permission. Zrael moved ahead of me with long, easy strides. His frame looked light enough to float. He glanced back every few steps, checking if I was keeping up. I wasn't, but I tried. The ground felt soft under my boots, almost like packed moss. Warm water dripped from the vines above and hit my shoulders. The droplets slid down my suit in thin trails. I wiped one off my visor. Zrael stopped near a cluster of tall blue stalks. They pulsed with a slow rhythm, brightening and dimming like breathing. He touched one gently. It bent toward him, releasing a faint scent that reminded me of citrus. He looked at me and made a short sound. It wasn't a word I knew, but the tone felt like an invitation. "You want me to try?" I asked. He nodded once. I reached out and touched the stalk. It bent toward my glove and released the same citrus scent. The warmth from it soaked into my palm. I let out a slow breath. Zrael watched my face closely, like he was studying my reaction. When I nodded, he made a soft, pleased sound. "Okay," I said. "That's actually nice." He stepped closer and pointed to another plant. This one had wide leaves that glowed green around the edges. He tapped the leaf lightly. It folded inward, then opened again. I tried it. The leaf folded around my finger, warm and smooth. I laughed under my breath. "Feels like it likes attention." Zrael tilted his head, curious about the sound I made. I repeated the laugh. He tried to mimic it. The sound he made was deeper, almost a rumble. It startled me, then made me smile. "Not bad," I said. "You're already funnier than half my team." He didn't understand the words, but he understood the tone. His eyes brightened. My stomach growled again, loud. Zrael's gaze dropped to my midsection. He made a thoughtful sound and walked toward a cluster of low plants with round orange bulbs. He picked one and held it out to me. I hesitated. "Is that safe?" He took a bite from another bulb, chewed and swallowed. Then he held mine out. "Right," I said. "Demonstration. Thanks." I bit into it. The skin was firm, but the inside was soft and warm. It tasted like a mix of sweet fruit and mild spice. My body reacted instantly, grateful for real food. Zrael watched me eat with a quiet focus, like he was making sure I didn't choke or drop dead. When I finished, he handed me another. "Okay," I said. "You're officially better at feeding me than my last boyfriend." He blinked, processing the tone. Then he made that soft rumble again. We walked deeper into the cavern. The light shifted from blue to green to gold as we passed different plants. Warm air drifted upward from hidden vents. My ribs still hurt, but the heat eased the sharpness. Zrael moved beside me now, not ahead, close enough that our arms brushed when the path narrowed. His skin felt warm through my suit. I didn't pull away. For the first time since the crash, the fear in my chest loosened. Not gone, just quieter. Zrael looked at me, eyes steady and bright. I looked back. Something unspoken settled between us. Not a promise, not yet, but something real, something alive. Chapter 8. Zrael led me to a shallow pool filled by a thin stream of warm water. The surface rippled with soft gold light from the plants above. Steam drifted upward in slow waves. My suit felt heavy with dried mineral dust and sweat. I knelt beside the pool and dipped my glove in. The water felt warm, almost like a bath. Zrael crouched beside me, his long limbs folded neatly, and he watched my reaction with steady eyes. He tapped the water once, then tapped my chest plate. The meaning was clear. You want me to clean up? I said. Yeah, that tracks. He made a short sound that might have been agreement. I unsealed the outer layer of my suit. The air hit my undershirt, warm and humid. My skin prickled as the heat soaked in. I washed my hands and face in the pool. The water smelled faintly sweet, like the fruit he'd given me earlier. My ribs ached when I bent forward, but the warmth eased the sharpness. Zrill watched closely, head tilted. When I splashed a little water on my neck, he made a soft sound and reached out. His fingers brushed my shoulder lightly, checking the torn fabric. His touch was warm and careful. I'm okay, I said quietly, just bruised. He didn't understand the words, but he understood the tone. His hand lingered a moment longer before he pulled back. I sat beside the pool, letting the heat settle into my bones. Zrill sat next to me, close enough that our arms touched. His skin felt warm through my undershirt. I didn't move away. He pointed at himself. Zrill. I nodded. Yeah, I remember. He pointed at me. And then. Hearing him say my name again did something strange to my chest. I smiled before I could stop myself. You're getting better at that. He repeated it, more confident this time. And then? I let out a slow breath. That's me. Zrill made a gesture indicating the caverns. Iskar. I smiled and repeated the gesture. Iskar? We call it TRAPPIST 1E. I like your name better. Zrill nodded and said, TRAPPIST 1E? Let's stick with Iskar, I said. We sat there in the warm air, our shoulders touching, the pool rippling quietly in front of us. The cavern lights shifted from gold to soft blue as the plants adjusted to the heat. For the first time since the crash, I didn't feel like a visitor. I felt like I belonged. Chapter 9. The deeper we walked, the warmer the air became. The cavern walls glowed with soft green light from the plants clinging to the stone. My suit hung open at the chest, letting the heat reach my skin. My ribs still hurt, but the pain felt dull now, softened by the warmth. Zrill walked beside me, close enough that our arms brushed every few steps. He moved with quiet confidence, long strides steady and sure. Every time I stumbled on uneven ground, he reached out without hesitation, steadying me with a warm hand on my elbow. Thanks, I said after the third time. I swear I'm usually more coordinated. He made a sound that might have been amusement. We reached a small chamber where the ceiling dipped low. A cluster of round plants glowed orange, filling the space with a warm, sweet smell. Zrill picked one of the bulbs and handed it to me. I bit into it. The taste was bright and clean, like citrus mixed with mild spice. My stomach relaxed, my shoulders loosened. For the first time since the crash, I felt something close to calm. Zrill watched me eat, eyes steady. When I finished, he touched his chest lightly. Zrill. I nodded. Yeah, I know. He pointed at me. Enthen. Hearing him say my name still did something strange to my chest. I smiled. You're getting good at that. He repeated it again, softer this time. Enthen. The air between us felt warm and close. I didn't pull away when he stepped nearer. His hand brushed mine, light and careful. I let my fingers rest against his for a moment. His skin felt warm, almost soothing. I opened my mouth to say something. I didn't know what, when a faint crackle sounded from my suit. I froze. Zrill's eyes narrowed. He stepped closer, protective. The crackle came again, then a burst of static, then, Trent, This is Survey Command. Do you copy? Trent. A pause. This is Survey Command. More static. Do you copy? More static. My breath caught. The voice was faint, broken, but unmistakably human. Zrill looked at me, confusion tightening his expression. I stared at the comm unit on my wrist, heart pounding. The voice returned, clearer this time. Enthen Trent, we received your distress signal. Static. Respond if you're alive. The cavern felt suddenly smaller. I swallowed hard. I'm here, I whispered. Chapter 10. The comm crackled again as Zrill guided me deeper into the cavern. The air felt warmer here, almost humid. My undershirt clung to my skin. The plants overhead glowed a soft blue, lighting the path in a steady pulse. Zrill stayed close, his shoulder brushing mine every few steps. I kept glancing at the comm unit on my wrist. The signal light blinked weakly. My heart thudded on my chest. Enthen Trent. More static. Respond. It went blank. If you can hear this. More static. The voice faded into static. Zrill stopped walking. He turned toward me, eyes narrowed with concern. He tapped the comm lightly, then tapped his own chest, then mine. The meaning was clear. You, me, here. I know, I said. I'm not going anywhere right now. He didn't understand the words, but he understood the tone. His shoulders relaxed a little. We moved into a wider chamber. Warm air drifted upward from vents in the floor. The smell of sweet fruit and wet stone filled the place. Zrill picked another orange bulb from a low plant and handed it to me. I took a bite. The taste grounded me. But the comm crackled again. Rescue vessel inbound. Static. Coordinates. It blanked out. Repeat. Static. Inbound. My stomach tightened. I looked at Zrill. He watched my face closely, searching for meaning. I tried to smile, but it felt thin. It's my people, I said quietly. They're coming. Zrill stepped closer. His hand brushed my arm, warm and steady. He made a soft sound, low and questioning. I swallowed hard. I don't know what happens next. He didn't move his hand. The cavern lights shifted from blue to green as the plants adjusted to the heat. The air felt thick with something unspoken. I wanted to reach for him. I didn't. The comm crackled one more time, louder than before. Enthen Trent. Signal confirmed. Static. Hold position. Silence. And more silence. And then static. And then I barely heard. We're coming for you. Zrill flinched at the sharp sound. His hand tightened on my arm. I looked at him, then at the comm, then back at him. The warmth of the cavern suddenly felt fragile. The world above was coming, and it wasn't ready for him. Chapter 11. The comm unit wouldn't stop blinking. Every few minutes, another burst of static cut through the warm air. Zrill flinched each time, his shoulders tightening. The cavern lights shifted with the heat, casting soft green across his skin. He looked worried. I felt worse. We walked in silence. My boots scraped against the stone. The warmth that had comforted me earlier now felt heavy. My ribs ached with each breath. Zrill kept glancing at me, checking for injuries, checking for something he couldn't name. The comm crackled again. Enthen Trent. A burst of static. Rescue vessel approaching orbit. Hold position. I stopped walking. The sound echoed off the walls. Zrill turned to face me, eyes bright with confusion and something close to fear. I didn't think they'd actually come, I said quietly. He didn't understand the words, but he understood the tone. His jaw tightened. He stepped closer, placing a warm hand on my arm. The touch steadied me for a moment. Then the comm spoke louder. Enthen Trent, respond. We have your signal. We are tracking your location. Zrill jerked his hand back, like the sound had burned him. His eyes darted toward the upper tunnels, then back to me. He made a low sound, urgent and worried. I know, I said. They're coming. He shook his head sharply. Another sound, sharper this time. Warning, fear, a plea. My chest tightened. Zrill, I can't stop them. He stepped back, breathing fast. His posture shifted, ready to run or fight. The warm air felt suddenly thin. The glow from the plants flickered as if reacting to the tension. I reached for him. Wait. He froze, but he didn't step closer. The comm crackled again. Enthen Trent, prepare for extraction. We are descending. Zrill's eyes widened. He took another step back. His hands trembled. He looked at me like he was losing something he hadn't realized he wanted or needed. I felt the same. I don't want to leave you, I said, voice low. He didn't understand the words, but he understood everything else. His expression tightened with pain. The cavern lights dimmed as a distant rumble shook the stone. The sound of something entering the atmosphere far above us. Zrill turned away, and for the first time since the crash, I felt cold. Chapter 12. Zrill led me into a smaller chamber off the main path. The ceiling dipped low, and the plants glowed a soft blue that made the air feel calm. Warm water dripped from the vines above, hitting the stone in slow, steady taps. I sat down on a flat walk, breathing hard. My ribs throbbed, my hands shook. Zrill crouched in front of me, eyes steady and worried. He touched my wrist lightly, right where the comm unit blinked. The signal light flashed again, bright, in the dim room. I pulled my hand back. I don't know what to do. He didn't understand the words, but he understood the tone. His shoulders lowered. He sat beside me, close enough that our legs touched. His warmth eased the cold settling on my chest. The comm crackled again. Enthen Trent, rescue vessel entering lower atmosphere. Hold position. I closed my eyes. The voice echoed in the chamber, sharp against the soft sounds of dripping water. Zrill flinched. His hand brushed mine, hesitant and careful. I didn't think I'd make it off the surface, I said quietly. I didn't think I'd meet anyone down here. I didn't think I'd... I stopped. The words felt too big. Zrill watched me with a focus that made my throat tighten. He reached out and touched my chest, lightly, right over my heartbeat. His fingers were warm, steady, present. I swallowed hard. I don't want to lose this. He didn't know the word, but he knew the feeling. His hand stayed on my chest a moment longer before he pulled it back. The comm crackled again, louder this time. Enthen Trent, respond. We are closing in. My stomach twisted. I looked at Zrill. He looked at me. His expression held fear, confusion, and something else. Something I didn't want to name because naming it would make leaving impossible. I leaned forward, elbows on my knees. Head down, the warm air felt heavy. My breath shook. I don't want to go, I whispered. Zrill didn't understand the words, but he understood the sound. He placed a hand on my back, slow and gentle. The touch didn't fix anything, but it kept me from breaking. Chapter 13. The rumble from above faded, leaving the cavern quiet again. Warm air drifted upward from the vents, brushing against my skin. Zrill stood a few steps away, watching me with a tight, worried expression. His hands were clenched at his sides. The glow from the plants cast soft blue across his face. The comm unit blinked, steadily on my wrist. Enthen Trent, respond. We are closing on your coordinates. I exhaled slowly. My chest felt tight. My ribs ached. My thoughts spun in circles. Zrill took a hesitant step toward me. He touched his chest, then reached out and touched mine. His fingers were warm. His eyes held a question I didn't know how to answer. I don't want to lose you, I said quietly. He didn't understand the words, but he understood the sound. His hand stayed on my chest a moment longer before he pulled back. The comm crackled again, louder this time. "Prepare for extraction. Signal locked." Zrael flinched. His shoulders tensed. He looked toward the upper tunnels, then back at me. His breathing quickened. He made a low sound. Fear, warning, something close to pain. I stepped closer. "I'm not leaving you behind." He froze. I touched his arm gently. His skin felt warm under my fingers. "You saved my life. You kept me alive. I'm not walking away from that." He didn't understand the words, but he understood the tone. His eyes softened. His posture shifted, less defensive, more hopeful. The comm crackled again. "Enthen Trent, hold position. Visual contact in 5 minutes." 5 minutes. I swallowed hard. My pulse hammered in my ears. I looked at Zrael, long-boned, steady, warm. The only reason I was still breathing. I made my choice. "We go together," I said. Zrael didn't know the words, but he knew the decision. His hand found mine, slow and careful. His fingers curled around my glove with a steady grip. The cavern lights brightened as the plants reacted to the rising heat. Warm air drifted upward. The sound of distant engines echoed faintly through the stone. I squeezed his hand. "Let's face them." Zrael nodded once, firm and sure. We stepped toward the upper tunnels, together. Chapter 14. The rumble above grew louder as we climbed. The warm air drifted past us from the caverns. But the higher we went, the colder it became. My breath fogged again. My ribs ached with every step. Zrael stayed close, steadying me when the stone grew slick. The comm unit blinked rapidly. "Enthen Trent, visual contact in 2 minutes." Zrael flinched at the sharp sound. His hand brushed mine, hesitant but firm. I squeezed back. "I'm not letting them take me without you." He didn't understand the words, but he understood the grip. We reached the final ledge. The opening above glowed with the red light of the dwarf star. Cold wind pushed down through the shaft, sharp and dry. I shivered. Zrael stepped in front of me, shielding me from the worst of it. His warmth pressed against my chest. A shadow crossed the opening. Then another. A rescue drone descended, light sweeping the shaft. The beam hit my faceplate. I raised a hand to block it. "Enthen Trent, we have eyes on you." A voice called through the speaker. "Stand by for extraction." Zrael tensed. His breathing quickened. He stepped closer, placing a hand on my chest. His eyes held fear and something deeper, something that made my throat tighten. "It's okay," I said softly. "I choose you." He didn't know the words, but he knew the truth in my voice. His hand stayed on my chest, warm and steady. The drone lowered a harness toward me. I didn't move. "Enthen Trent," the voice repeated, sharper now. "Step into the harness." I shook my head. "Not without him." A pause. Static. Confusion. "Repeat that?" the voice said. I stepped forward, pulling Zrael with me. "He comes with me, or I stay." Zrael's fingers tightened around mine. The drone hovered, lights flickering as the operator hesitated. The wind scraped across the ice above us. My heart pounded. Finally, the voice returned, slower this time. "Understood. Adjusting extraction protocol." The harness lowered again, this time wide enough for 2. I let out a shaky breath. Zrael looked at me, eyes bright with relief. I nodded. "We're going home," I said. He didn't know the word, but he knew the feeling. We stepped into the harness together. And for the first time since the crash, the future felt possible. Chapter 15. The hum of the ship felt steady under my boots. Warm air drifted from the vents, carrying the clean scent of recycled air. My ribs were wrapped in a support band, and the pain had settled into a dull ache. I sat on the edge of the medbay cot, watching the planet turn slowly through the window. Iskir glowed with red light from the dwarf star. Steam vents shimmered from the surface. The caverns below were hidden from view, but I could still feel their warmth on my skin. The door slid open. Zrael stepped inside, moving carefully in the low gravity. The medical team had scanned him twice. confused but curious. He wore a loose gray shirt and soft pants they'd given him. The fabric hung lightly on his long frame. His eyes brightened when he saw me. I smiled. "Hey." He crossed the room in a few long strides and sat beside me. The cot dipped under his weight. His hand brushed mine, warm and steady. I turned my palm up and he laced his fingers with mine. The ship hummed around us. The lights glowed soft and even. For the first time since the crash, my body felt fully warm. A soft chime sounded from the console, a message from command. I ignored it. Zrill tilted his head, watching my face. He touched my chest lightly, right over my heartbeat. The gesture was familiar now, comforting. "I'm not going anywhere," I said quietly. "Not without you." He didn't know the words, but he knew the truth. His fingers tightened around mine. The window showed the curve of Iskir as we drifted into shadow. The red light faded, replaced by the soft glow of the ship's interior. Zrill leaned his shoulder against mine. His warmth settled into me like a steady pulse. I let out a slow breath. We made it. Zrill repeated the sound softly, almost like agreement. The ship hummed, the lights glowed, the hand stayed in mine. And for the first time since the crash, I felt completely safe. Not alone, not lost. Home. Epilogue, 1 year later. The ship, Horizon Dawn, hummed under my feet as I walked down the corridor toward the observation deck. The lights were set to morning brightness. Warm air drifted from the vents, carrying the faint scent of citrus from the hydroponics bay. My ribs didn't hurt anymore. My suit fit better. My steps felt steady. Zill was already out the window when I arrived. He stood with his hands behind his back, watching Iskir turn slowly below us. The red light from the dwarf star washed across his skin. He wore the same soft gray clothes he'd grown comfortable in. His posture relaxed when he heard me enter. "Morning," I said. He turned, eyes bright. "Enthen." He said my name easily now. Clean, confident, warm. I stepped beside him. The window showed the curve of Iskir, steam rising from the geothermal vents, the caverns hidden beneath the surface. We'd mapped half of them over the past year. The rest waited for us. Zrill reached out and took my hand. His fingers curled around mine with the same steady grip he'd given me in the fissure a year ago. I squeezed back. "We're cleared to go down again this afternoon," I said. "New sensors, better suits, safer descent." Zrill nodded. "Together." The word came out smooth and surface. I smiled. "Yeah, together." The ship drifted into the planet's shadow. The lights inside the deck brightened automatically. Zrill leaned his shoulder against mine, warm and familiar. A year ago, I'd climbed into a rescue harness expecting to lose him. Now we planned our days side by side. I looked at the planet below us, then at him. "I'm glad you found me," I said. Zrill squeezed my hand once, firm and sure. "Home," he said. And he was right. Thanks for listening, my friends. This was a collaborative effort between me and Copilot and Bentley, and we had fun putting it together. We'll see you next week. I love you all. Peace, my friends.